So my question remains, who made a complaint of fraud and corruption? Who came to IDAC and said there is a complaint of fraud and corruption that I would like to make and for IDAC to investigate?
When we look at the referral, sir, Section 27 referral, where it talks about the appointment of a civilian lady, I think that's where it comes in, the irregular appointment.
So IDAC made an inference. It did not come from a complainant. The complainant did not say, I believe that there's a case of fraud and corruption that IDAC should investigate. I'm just trying to understand IDAC's thinking, not so much the merits of the case, but IDAC's thinking and how it got to where it arrived at.
What I can gather from what is written on the preambles is coming from the A1 statement.
Let's leave it. Let's go to the affidavit on page 683. This is Mr. Adams's affidavit on the same day, the 6th of January, 2025. Are you able to put it up, Ms. Mutlasen? Same bundle on 683. I think you've seen the document before. Paragraphs 2 and 3. So paragraph 1, Mr. Adams describes himself, Fedial Adams MP. And then in paragraph 2, he says, on or about early October 2024, I received information anonymously surrounding alleged fraud and corruption being perpetrated within crime intelligence. The allegations related to certain high-ranking police officials being involved in manipulating promotional and security vetting processes to unduly benefit a civilian person who worked for BMW South Africa being appointed as a brigadier in South Africa. She apparently has no policing experience and no management experience and was appointed as head of the technical support services. Do you see that?
I see that.
So is that where you say the complaint of fraud and corruption comes from?
Yes, sir. That's what I would take from here, that it's an irregular, the person was appointed irregularly to a post.
And what is the fraud and corruption, if I may ask?
Your fraud and your corruption is the unlawful and intentional misrepresentation of certain facts and which it prejudiced the state. That's your fraud.
Okay. In this particular case?
In this particular matter.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What I'm struggling with is it's just not clear to me whether somebody is saying a fraudulent CV was submitted or somebody who did not comply with the requirements in the advert was appointed. I'm just not clear what fraud and corruption is here. That's where I can see that somebody from outside was appointed and has no management experience. Yes. Is that the fraud, or is it something else that is not in this affidavit? What is the fraud and corruption, other than appointing somebody who is from outside as has no policing experience?
So I don't know whether I'll be looking at fraud is fraud. From the affidavit being taken and deriving from person taking the affidavit, allegations related to officials involved in manipulating promotional and vetting processes to unduly benefit somebody. So manipulation the mere, what I grasp out of this, in order to get to this here, something had to be done and misrepresented. You know, that's the way I would see it. I know where Commissioner is going with it, but this has to deal, when you look at it, manipulation of promotions, how was it manipulated? What was done? Vetting processes, what was done? This person had no policing experience, what was done to cover up? So these are the things I'm taking in to derive where fraud comes in and where corruption comes in. Obviously, from the basis of this affidavit, I will take that now and go and look for further evidence, whether it comes from an analysis or documents or interviewing with persons to fully understand. But when I look at it, something had to be done. Something had to be manipulated. Manipulated, it borders on misrepresentation of something for somebody to believe such. And when you look at the post itself and what is mentioned, I mean, that is the way I look at it, sir. But the person that's taking the affidavit, I can't speak for him.
I think I'm going to leave it here for now. So at some point we'll get to the adverts and the CVs and other things. I just needed to understand the two documents and what the complaint was.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sorry, Colonel. You cannot use, because in response to the question by Commissioner Khumalo, you referred to an earlier part, the part that refers to these high-ranking police officials, open code, being involved in manipulating promotional and security vetting processes to unduly benefit a civilian person. That does not say much. Like if you say manipulating promotional and security vetting processes, that is a conclusion which must necessarily be based on facts.
Yes.
What are the facts? There are none. And then you say to unduly benefit a civilian person. Well, I know you'll say the person benefited is the person who worked for BMW, and that the benefit is the appointment.
Yes, sir.
But what comes first is the manipulation. What are the facts for saying that there was manipulation? I know it's not you saying this.
Yes.
But you, as part of IDAC, are investigating this. And it goes back to what I said earlier, which is you only start investigating if this is a referral, if there is a basis for a reasonable suspicion.
Yes, sir.
So if all you have are conclusions manipulating promotional and security vetting processes, what is the manipulation? What form did it take? There's none of that, not on this. And it's on that basis that I say you have not answered Commissioner Khumalo's question.
Thank
Because
you,
in attempting to answer it, you refer to this, and this is lacking on facts. There's no factual basis.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to explain it in the best I can. This affidavit, this section 27 comes in, it's referred. And then a preliminary investigation starts. At all given time, this is still an allegation. So when the preliminary investigation starts, you only have this to go on, which, as Commissioner Khumalo says, but look, there's nothing really much here, manipulation.
What I say is, absent a reasonable factual basis, you should not even begin, because that's the basis for the Section 27 referral. You do not even begin. I think when I engaged you earlier, I said, you do not start if the Section 27 jurisdictional facts are not satisfied. You cannot say, let us commence with an investigation. Who knows? Maybe we'll come across something that will show that an offense covered by Section 7(1) capital A has in fact been committed. That's not how it works. You must first establish whether there are, or rather the jurisdictional facts do exist. If they don't, you do not even begin to investigate. That is where Commissioner Khumalo's question lies.
Commissioner, I'm trying to answer this in the best way I know.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to deviate from something.
Yes.
This is how I see it. And what is given to me in the statement on the preliminary investigation to say, go and look, there's an allegation here that's been made, and where further investigation was conducted in terms of documents and interviewing of witnesses. I hear that there's nothing in here that this is what is being saying, but there's an allegation made here, a serious allegation being made here, that there is manipulation of processes by high-ranking officers, giving a civilian with no experience and appointing her in a crime intelligence post. So that for me is a flag. Promotion being manipulated, a civilian into a crime intelligence post with no experience. So that for me was the red flag, and I was satisfied.
You read, Colonel, you read when Ms. Sillo asked you to basically set out how the process works. Yes. You read a number of sections and you went all the way up to, was it 28?
Yes.
Yes. And as part of that, you even read section 27, which sets out the jurisdictional facts for a referral. And you say this was a referral. Yes. Do you know what those jurisdictional facts are in accordance with section 27? Do you or don't you?
According to what is written in 7A, where it says fraud and corruption.
No. I'm talking about the jurisdictional facts in 27 for a referral.
I'm still not catching it.
I'm talking about, okay, let me not talk about jurisdictional facts. Let me say the bases, as in plural, BASES.
Yes.
Do you know the bases upon which a referral may be made in terms of section 27?
The basis on which the section 27, it shows out that crimes were committed that falls within the mandate on 7.1a.
There's an important one. I engaged you on this in the morning. Let's look at it together. Just go there. The reasonable grounds to suspect. Reasonable grounds to suspect. You remember when I engaged you on that this morning?
Sir?
Yes, that's an important one. You cannot leave it out. So my question is, if you know those jurisdictional facts or bases,
yes, sir.
And surely you do.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you have this manipulating promotional and security vetting processes with no explanation whatsoever, and even if you look at this together with the other statement, which is actually, as part of its heading, refers to section 27 referral, that is Mr. Adams's statement. Even if you look at that, at least insofar as I look at this, I do not see how anybody within IDAC, including you, could have held the view that those jurisdictional facts have been satisfied. On what, as you sit there, on what basis do you say those jurisdictional facts were satisfied?
Commissioner, I'm only going to say that this referral was sent to management, who approved the section 27 referral, and then authorized a section 2813 preliminary investigation. So I take my cue from there. When that preliminary investigation is initiated. So I take it from there.
Besides the view that they might have held, as you sit there,
yes, sir.
Did you yourself satisfy yourself that the jurisdictional facts had been satisfied?
So
let's leave out what they thought. You know, you referred to the section, you quoted it, and even now as I'm engaging you, you appear to know what that section means. As you sit there now,
yes, sir.
Are you telling us that, as at the time, you were satisfied that the jurisdictional facts were satisfied?
So that's why I continued with the investigation. When I was tasked with it,
where you say, I do not know whether that answer says yes or no. Were you satisfied that the jurisdictional facts were satisfied or were met?
Chair, Colonel, my apologies. And I do apologize for interjecting. Perhaps before Colonel Padayachee responds, and I say this because I had him reference the Section 27 referral. The document Commissioner Khumalo was considering was the A1 statement.
No, that's why I deliberately said. That's why I deliberately said, even if I consider both this, meaning the A1, and the statement which is actually headed Section 27 referral. So I'm including both. It was exactly because I am aware, Mr. Law, that this one was not the referral.
No, that you are aware, Chair. I have no, it's whether the witness understands where you are wanted to make, which one I'm referring
to.
I don't know if as you pose the question, we should call up Section 27 referral, and then he doesn't confuse the two statements.
I hear you. He may have missed my linking of the two.
Yes.
Colonel, in referring to the document on which Commissioner Khumalo was engaging you, I also made specific reference to the document headed Section 20, or rather, as part of its heading, refers to Section 27 referral. You heard me make that connection.
Yes, sir.
Or refer to that document as well.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Now, what I'm saying is, as you sit there and bearing in mind, in particular, that document, that second document, the one which as part of its heading refers to the Section 27 referral, as you sit there, are you telling us that as at the time, you were of the view that the jurisdictional facts had been satisfied for a Section 27 referral?
I'm going to say yes, Commissioner.
On what basis?
On the basis of the way I interpreted it.
No. This is about the facts presented.
Yes.
This is about the facts presented for purposes of the referral.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you look at those facts in conjunction with what is provided for in Section 27. But on the facts, what is it that made you satisfied that the jurisdictional facts had been met?
It's what was being said there. A person has been appointed in a technical post without qualifications. It's a civilian. For me, that amounts to fraud and corruption that need to be looked at, to be verified.
At this stage, I will say that's a quantum leap in logic, but I'm sure Ms. Sillo is still going to come to that. It's a quantum leap in logic, because you know that many people get appointed in subs without, they cannot even salute, but they are appointed because of their expertise. I'm not necessarily saying Ms. Mukwele had that expertise, but that's what we've been told. And to just say because no experience within subs means nothing, and it's on that basis that I say that's quite some quantum leap in logic. But Ms. Sillo, I assume, will deal with that more extensively when the time comes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I was intending to chair, perhaps, and this might be the logical point to deal with it. So then let me introduce the referral affidavit.
Sorry, before you do that, can I?
Yes, yes, Commissioner.
And I'm asking this on the back of how you've answered the chair and say you're satisfied as you sit there that the jurisdictional facts existed for IDAC to take on this matter. It takes me back then to my earlier question, which I said we will reserve for Ms. Johnson when she comes. And my question is this. Section 27 speaks of a specified offense or something like that. It says there must be a specified offense. What is the specified offense that you say you were satisfied is present to trigger your jurisdiction?
My answer to that would be, when I read what is written in the 27 and on this, I draw the inference here, the inference that there is fraud and corruption. That is my answer to it.
27 speaks of a specified offense. And if you remember, I did refer you to section 1, which defines what is a specified offense, and it defines it by reference to the now deleted section 7.1. It says specified offense is the offense in 7.1. When you go to 7.1, 7.1 has been deleted. You sit there now, you say you were satisfied that the jurisdictional requirements were present. Therefore, it must mean you were satisfied that there is a specified offense as defined. And my question is, what is that specified offense that was previously defined in the deleted section 7.1 that you found to be present, and as you sit there, you find to be present to have triggered the jurisdiction?
In terms of the 7.1A,
we're not at 7.1A, we are at 7.1. 7.1A doesn't speak to a specified offense. It has nothing to do with a specified offense. 27 is triggered when there's a specified offense. That's what 27 says. Now, the provision that used to list or to explain what is a specified offense is no longer there. And you say now to the chairperson, yes, the jurisdictional fact is present. I was satisfied, I'm still satisfied that it's present. And I say to you, well, it has to be a specified offense. Show us what is the specified offense with reference to both what is alleged in the affidavit, but two, with reference to the act that gives you jurisdiction to investigate this matter.
Yes. Commissioner, I'm going to answer it in this way. When you look at the statutory offenses and where I come across corruption, right? What the appointment, manipulation of the process, all of that, the fraud, corruption. Let's put the fraud aside. Let's look at the corruption. So when we look at the 27 and the mandate falling in terms of the statutory offense of PRECA, the appointment is one, is the giving of a gratification, and two, the receiving of a gratification in terms of section 3A and 3B of PRECA. And that gratification falls in the definitions of gratifications in section 1 of PRECA. So I'm deriving it from that.
Yes.
That it amounts around.
Let me interrupt you. You say your testimony is that IDAC gets seized of this matter because of a referral by virtue of a section 27 referral. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's been your testimony.
Yes.
Okay. Now, section 27 tells you under what circumstances does a referral get made.
Yes.
It says if you reasonably suspect, if you have reasonable grounds to suspect that there is a specified offense that is committed or that is about to be committed, or an attempt is being made to commit a specified offense. That's an operational word, specified offense. It has to be a specified offense. Now, when you go to 7.1A, Sub 1 used to contain a specified offense. It's no longer there. And Sub 1A doesn't deal with specified offense. Sub 1A has nothing to do with this referral. It tells you it has to be serious, high profile or complex corruption, commercial or financial crime. Sub 2 talks about fraud, those common law offenses. Sub 3 introduces PRECA. You have not testified that you acted in terms of PRECA. You've said we acted in terms of a referral under section 27. That's what your testimony is. Yes. That's what gave us jurisdiction. That's what got us started. Yes. And you say you are confident that the requirement in 27 is met. That's why you are able to investigate this. And what I have sought to show you, and I'm happy to leave it at you've given your best answer on this, is that 27 requires for there to be a complaint of a specified offense. There is no definition of specified offense in this act. So 27 could not be where you drew your authority from. That's what I'm putting to you.
I'm still struggling with it, Commissioner.
All right. Your position is you acted in terms of Section 27, and you say it gave you jurisdiction.
That is it. That,
You-
an,
had-
approved, an
yes.
approved Section 27 referral, which was approved.
Okay. No, I'm not concerned about the approval. I'm concerned about your answer to the chairperson that you are satisfied that the requirements that give you jurisdiction to investigate this matter have been satisfied. That's what you said to the chairperson. And that's why I'm having this discussion with you. But I've heard your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.